The 1992 Oscar-winning film Unforgiven is considered by many to be a modern classic, and there's plenty of reasons for that. With Clint Eastwood's stylistic directing, this engaging story is surrounded by an all-star cast. It's no wonder this film won for Best Picture. What makes this movie great? No. What makes this movie elite? This movie is a standout above most any other film in film history, and most people don't even realize it. So what makes Unforgiven so special? Before we answer that question, let's ask ourselves another question. Who is the villain? Little Bill, the sadistic marshal who kills Ned, right? Right? He is the villain, right? We all felt satisfaction when William used his shotgun to shoot him in the face at point-blank range, didn't we? Was there another villain? You could argue that the cowboy who cut the woman was a villain, certainly a villainous act. But let's be real. Nobody walking out of the movie theater considered him to be the main villain. How about English Bob? He was an assassin there to kill someone for money. Certainly villainous, but hardly the main villain. This brings up an interesting point, though, and it answers why Unforgiven is a brilliant, standout movie above most movies ever made. Why is it so special? It's simple. A huge majority of people who watch that movie, perhaps multiple times to this day, don't even realize that they spent the entire film rooting for the villain. Is Little Bill the villain? No. He was a marshal trying to protect his town from assassins, riding in and shooting up the place. Yes, he was wrong for not properly punishing those cowboys, the one really for cutting up that woman. But look at how sadistic he was in beating up English Bob. Well, you heard him. He was trying to send a message. He grew up in Kansas. He knew what assassins would be like. What'd you expect him to do? Sit English Bob down and say, "Now, Bob, you know it's not right to kill men for money. Now go away and tell everyone not to come here and to kill anyone." And then Bob would leave and tell everyone, "Don't go to Big Whiskey, or else he'll get a stern lecture from Little Bill." No. He knew that violence was the only thing these men understood, and he doled it out. He didn't kill him. He roughed him up, and then he let him go. But what about what he did to Ned? He whipped and killed him. Yes, he did. And it surprises me at how many feel such sympathy for Ned. Ned did kill a man, didn't he? Well, he didn't finish him off, but it was his shot that made it possible. And as much as Little Bill whipped him, he still didn't tell him the truth. Face it, Little Bill knew he was lying. We knew he was lying. Perhaps we felt more sympathy for Ned because of the simple fact that it was Morgan Freeman. Well, he shouldn't have killed him and propped his body up outside Skinny's bar. By this time, 2 men had been killed, and Ned and his friends were responsible. We already determined that a stern warning wasn't going to deter assassins from earning some money, which brings up a very interesting point. As bad as what those 2 cowboys did, they didn't deserve to die.
I'm dying, boys!
Look at our laws now. If a man cuts someone up, does he deserve the death sentence? Back in those times, the law was pretty much an eye for an eye. Those men certainly deserved a harsher punishment, and it is Little Bill's fault for them not getting it. But they didn't deserve to die for what they did. We, as the audience, could pretty much accept that, despite the fact that the main culprit was mostly unlikable. Here's Little Bill in a town where 2 men have an illegal death sentence on their heads, hunted by men who are more concerned about getting their money than getting justice. What, besides the unacceptable punishment, should Little Bill have done differently? Everyone he beat was guilty of trying to kill someone for money.
I ain't gonna hurt no woman.
Who's the villain? That's easy, and yet somehow never fully grasped. It's William Money, of course. The film starts off by stating that he was a known thief and murderer. It later confirms that he killed women and children. Sure, he changed when he got married and he felt regret for what he did. But when the chips were down, what did he do? he went back to killing. But he did it to feed his children. Yes, but is that what we, as a society, admire? Hey, you're poor. Go out and kill someone who didn't deserve to die to earn some money. No, that's disgusting, and nobody supports that. Yet, we all found it acceptable that William Money should go and earn some money by killing two people who didn't deserve to die. So what does William do? He helps in the killing of two men who didn't deserve to die. He then kills Skinny, Little Bill, and his deputies, all because they did to Ned what Ned deserved. So William was upset that Ned got what he deserved, and he then doled out death to those who didn't deserve it. He then proceeds to leave town telling everybody that if they shoot at him, that he'd kill the shooter, his family, his friends, and burn his house down. The man unjustly killed many men and then threatens the family and friends of anyone who would dole out the justice that William Money deserves. The film ends with a nice guitar playing as we're told that William took his blood money and used it to become successful in dry goods. Meanwhile, a whole town is destroyed. We all felt satisfied when the movie ended. The bad guys got what they deserved. They didn't. When you think of it, the only one who got what he deserved was Ned. He was involved in killing someone. He deserved to die. Everyone else, those who didn't deserve to die, were killed, and the one who deserved to die the most rides away with money to build his life. We all rooted for Clint Eastwood. He's Clint Eastwood. He has to be the hero of the movie. Yet, when you really look at it, he's one of film's biggest villains. And that is why this film is so brilliant. Most people who watch it and have seen it many times don't even realize they're rooting for the villain to kill the man who was just trying to protect his town from being shot up by assassins looking to kill men who didn't deserve to die. It's amusing to watch people react to this film and see them rooting for William and see how much disgust they have for Little Bill. The film does a great job of playing up to that. It shows the townspeople wincing when Little Bill doles out his beatings, and we connect with that. The film plays on that. But those shots' main objectives was to show that normal people have never witnessed and don't know how to deal with the way assassins should be treated. A huge majority of people watch this film rooting for the villain, still thinking that Little Bill is the villain. And that, besides being an Oscar-winning film, is why this film is in an elite class of its own. You rooted for the villain, people, and most of you are just now realizing that.